All summer long, I was looking forward to a railfan road trip. I had never done one on my own and decided there was no better place to go than into the Smoky Mountains. The scenery is beautiful, the trains are plentiful, and the mountain railroading is rivaled by few other regions. Making my way into Asheville on a Wednesday morning, I found myself passing through Hickory, North Carolina. Nothing more than a town along the interstate to most folks. I decided to pull off in search of the last remaining engines in their original Family Lines paint scheme. This is the Caldwell County Railroad, which rosters two GP16s, both of which are hidden gems in their striking gray, yellow, and red. As neat as it was to be looking at these old soldiers, I wanted to make it to Asheville in time for some Norfolk Southern action. About an hour later, and I knew I was close as I started to climb the mountain into town. This old Florida boy was eating up the mountainous terrain as I gave the 98 Wrangler a run for its money, barely passing the semis on the aggressive climb towards Asheville. I love being in new places on my own schedule, and driving these mountain roads was one of the things I was looking forward to most. Just like that, I had reached the summit and the road immediately dropped beneath me. The descent took me into town and spat me out alongside a seldomly used Norfolk Southern branch line. This wasn't my first rodeo in Asheville, and I immediately made way for the NS Yard near the River Arts District. I couldn't have timed this better if I had tried. The yard job appeared to be assembling an outbound consist for the Blue Ridge Southern, a Watco short line that interchanges daily with the NS in Asheville. At the helm of today's switch job was GP60 number 7134, a locomotive model long on my eyes. NS uses these engines on switching and local assignments around their system, and I was pretty happy to be watching one firsthand. These engines are relatively rare, with the Class 1 only rostering 48 as of August 2020. While I waited for the inbound Blue Ridge Southern train, NS was kind enough to keep me preoccupied while 7134 continued to drill the yard. And just when I thought things were dying down, in came local P87. This is a daily job from Asheville to Bridgewater, a wood chip loadout on the other side of the mountain and over the Old Fort loops. With NS adopting PSR initiatives, the railroad discontinued road trains over the loops in May of 2020. P87 is the only daylight local to traverse Old Fort, so I was kinda disappointed to see that I had missed my one chance at catching some action on the loops. However, my luck changed almost immediately. As I was watching 87 pull in, my scanner announced a train number 950 stalled out at Old Fort requesting relief power from Asheville. I was ecstatic, and it took less than a minute for me to be on my way. I haven't railfanned with a scanner in years and figured I had better buy one for this trip. Wow, am I glad I did. Anyway, I found myself in Swannanoa about 20 minutes later, halfway between Asheville and the loops. I was hearing chatter of a track gang up ahead and decided to take the back roads paralleling the tracks towards Old Fort. I ran into the gang near Ridgecrest, presumably getting off the main and out of the relief power's way.
Now, man, 613. Oh yeah, it's been that way since KBM.
There was a whole slew of MOW equipment, but I was more focused on the tunnel portal. I've only ever seen the Alaska Railroad's Glacier Discovery train exiting Portage Pass, so I told myself I would be back here. Continuing east from Ridgecrest, the road turns quite rugged and mountainous, much to my delight. There's something that I love about driving my car through new places, and a one-lane mountain road leading to the Old Fort Loops is about as good as it gets. No cell service, no other people, just me, the mountain, and the railroad. Yet again, I was ecstatic. The tracks and I were crisscrossing each other all the way down grade until suddenly there it was, the Old Fort Loops. I quickly did some recon and found the stalled train in the woods, delighted to see it was a rail train. I doubled back to Andrews Geyser, where I got the drone up for a quick look at the loops. Constructed between 1875 and 1879 by the Southern Railway, the loops help the tracks climb 13 miles westbound from Old Fort to Ridgecrest, a 3-mile distance the way the bird flies. Setting up back by the bridge, I was treated to a 2-hour wait while the relief power moseyed on down grade. They finally showed around 4:30. I had done it. I had seen a train on the loops. I was psyched. Luckily for me, the slow speed downgrade made it possible to leapfrog the power within a mere half-mile. The rail train was just yards to the left, and I figured it wouldn't be too long before the relief power got back underway. I set up near Andrews Geyser, giddy with excitement. The geyser is the focal point for rail fanning the loops, as you can watch the trains through the forest on the left and then soar over you on the right. 15 minutes later and the relief power had tacked onto 950, easily yanking the train uphill. There's something so surreal to me about rail fanning in isolated scenic locations such as Old Fort. I felt like a kid on Christmas morning. The loops are one of the few places in the country where tracks practically climb over themselves, and I just couldn't believe that my dumb luck put me in Old Fort the same time as an extra rail train. I mean, seriously, what are the chances? I was simply over the moon. Growing up, I had always wanted to visit the loops, but figured it an impossible task living in Florida. When I set out on this trip, I knew I had to at least make the effort, and the feeling was overwhelming knowing I had fulfilled one of my longest-standing wishes. I broke off in order to beat the train to Ridgecrest, and once again had more than enough time. The NS kept me gawking as I watched speechless as 950 appeared to crest a hill inside the tunnel. Words just cannot describe. All I could do was enjoy. Well, today was definitely a quality over quantity type of day, as I couldn't have been happier to be chasing a stalled extra through the mountains and over the loops. Thanks for railfanning with me today, and make sure to tune in to part 2 of my North Carolina road trip where I chased the Queen of the Smokies.